What if one of the world's most misunderstood animals could teach us more about loyalty, family, and teamwork than we ever expected? For centuries, wolves have been described as dangerous, ruthless, and driven only by instinct. But behind those sharp eyes and powerful howls is a surprisingly complex mind. Wolves form deep family bonds. They care for their young. They communicate in ways that scientists are still working to understand. They cooperate during difficult hunts. And in many cases, they remain connected to their family for years. But here's the question that makes wolves truly fascinating. Do wolves understand loyalty? Not loyalty in the human sense. They do not make promises. They do not follow rules because someone tells them to. But their behavior reveals something powerful. Wolves depend on trust. They depend on cooperation. And they depend on the strength of the pack. Without those connections, survival becomes much more difficult. So perhaps wolves understand loyalty in a way that is simpler, deeper, and more natural than we think. And once you discover how intelligent wolves really are, you may never look at them the same way again. Welcome to Animal Mind Lab, where we explore the hidden intelligence, emotions, and psychology behind animal behavior. Today, we're uncovering why wolves may understand loyalty better than you think, and the hidden intelligence behind one of nature's most remarkable animals. A wolf pack is not simply a random group of wolves living together. In the wild, many packs are built around a family. The adults lead and care for their young. Older offspring may remain with the family for a period of time. They may help watch over younger pups. They may participate in hunting, and they may support the survival of the entire group. This family structure creates strong social bonds. Every wolf has to pay attention to the behavior of the others. They need to understand when the pack is calm. They need to recognize when danger is near. They need to know when to follow, when to wait, and when to act. This requires much more than strength. It requires social intelligence. A wolf that constantly ignores the group could create problems for everyone. During a hunt, timing matters, position matters, communication matters, and cooperation can determine whether the pack succeeds or fails. A wolf cannot always survive by thinking only about itself. The strength of the group often depends on individuals working together. That is where the idea of loyalty begins to make sense. Wolves are not loyal because they are following a human idea of honor. Their bonds are built through family, trust, shared experiences, and cooperation. Their behavior is connected to the survival and stability of the pack. But that does not make those bonds less meaningful. In fact, it may make them even more remarkable. Imagine living in a world where every member of your family depends on the others, where food must be found together, where young animals need protection, where danger can appear without warning, and where communication must happen without spoken language. For wolves, cooperation is not optional. It is part of life, and this cooperation reveals a level of intelligence that many people underestimate. One of the most surprising things about wolves is the way they communicate. Most people immediately think of howling, but a wolf's howl is only one part of a much larger communication system. Wolves also use body posture. They use facial expressions. They use ear movements. They use the position of their tails. They use scent. And they make a variety of sounds that can communicate different information. A single howl can travel across long distances. It may help wolves locate one another. It may help members of a pack reconnect. And it can communicate information to wolves that are far away. But wolves do not howl only because they are lonely. That is one of the many myths created by movies and stories. Howling can be part of social communication. It can help maintain contact. It can bring the group together. And it can strengthen the sense of connection between pack members. When several wolves howl together, their voices may blend into a powerful chorus. To us, it may sound wild and mysterious. But to wolves, it may be part of an organized social system. And communication does not end with sound. Wolves are highly observant. They notice changes in the behavior of other wolves. They can respond to posture and movement. They learn from experience. And they can adapt their behavior when the situation changes. This is where their hidden intelligence becomes even more surprising. A wolf hunt is not always a simple chase. Large prey can be fast, powerful, and dangerous. The wolves must observe. They must make decisions. They must react to sudden changes. And they must coordinate their movements with other members of the pack. Researchers have observed wolves adjusting their behavior depending on the prey, the environment, and the abilities of other pack members. This does not mean every hunt is perfectly planned. Nature is unpredictable, but wolves show flexibility. They learn what works, they respond to one another, and they use cooperation to improve their chances. That kind of teamwork requires attention and experience. A wolf may notice when another wolf changes direction. It may react when the prey moves unexpectedly. It may wait for the right moment rather than rushing forward. These are not signs of a mindless animal. They are signs of an intelligent predator living in a complex social world. But intelligence is not only about hunting, it is also about relationships. Wolves spend time interacting with members of their pack. They play, they communicate, they care for young animals, and they maintain social connections. Wolf pups are not raised by only one individual. Other members of the family may help protect, guide, and care for them. Older wolves can play an important role in helping younger wolves learn. Through play and experience, young wolves develop social skills. They learn boundaries, they learn communication, and they learn how to function as part of a group. This is another reason wolves are so fascinating. Their intelligence is deeply social. They do not simply need to understand the physical world. They also need to understand the animals around them. They must recognize relationships. They must respond to social signals. And they must learn how their behavior affects the group. In many ways, the pack becomes a living network of communication. Every wolf contributes, every wolf observes, and every wolf responds. But wolves are not perfect. They can compete, they can disagree, they can show tension. Their social lives are complex, just like the social lives of many intelligent animals. Loyalty does not mean that conflict never happens. It may mean that relationships continue to matter even when life becomes difficult. A wolf pack is held together not by constant peace, but by social bonds, cooperation, and shared survival. And those bonds can be incredibly strong. Wolves may remain connected to family members for long periods. They recognize familiar individuals, they develop relationships, and they respond differently depending on their social connections. This challenges the old image of wolves as cold, solitary killers. The truth is much more complicated. Wolves can be powerful hunters, but they are also family members. They can be cautious, they can be playful, they can be protective, and they can be deeply connected to their social group. Perhaps this is why wolves have captured human imagination for thousands of years. We see strength in them, we see freedom, we see mystery. But maybe the most important lesson is not their strength. Maybe it is their ability to survive through connection. A lone wolf may sound powerful in stories, but in nature, wolves are often strongest when they work together. They depend on trust. They communicate constantly. They support the young. They learn from experience. And they cooperate when the situation demands it. That is not weakness, it is intelligence. And it may be one of the greatest reasons wolves have survived in challenging environments. Their strength does not come only from sharp teeth or powerful bodies. It also comes from relationships. It comes from communication. It comes from knowing that the success of one individual can depend on the actions of the entire group. So, do wolves understand loyalty? Maybe not in the exact way humans describe it. Wolves do not write processes. They do not explain their feelings with words, but their lives are built around family bonds, cooperation, communication, and trust. They stay connected, they work together, they help raise the young, and they depend on one another when survival becomes difficult. Perhaps loyalty is not always something that needs to be spoken. Sometimes it is shown through actions, through staying close, through protecting the group, through working together when the outcome is uncertain, and through returning to the animals that make the pack a family. The hidden intelligence of wolves is not found in one single behavior. It appears in the way they communicate, the way they learn, the way they cooperate, the way they raise their young, and the way they build strong social relationships. The more we study wolves, the clearer it becomes that they are not simply creatures of instinct. They are intelligent, adaptable, social animals with complex lives. And perhaps the greatest surprise is this. The animal we once feared as a symbol of danger may also be one of nature's strongest examples of cooperation. So the next time you hear a wolf howl, remember that you may be hearing more than a sound in the wilderness. You may be hearing a message, a signal between family members, a connection across distance, a reminder that even in the wild, survival is not always about standing alone. Sometimes the greatest strength comes from the pack. If you enjoyed discovering the hidden intelligence and social world of wolves, subscribe to Animal Mind Lab for more fascinating stories about animal psychology, intelligence, emotions, and behavior. Because when we learn to understand their minds, we begin to see animals differently.